much money does it take to retire? Are you wanting to retire at 55? How much in retirement savings do you need to retire at 55? Are you wanting to retire at 60? How much in retirement investing accounts are you going to need to retire at 60? Well, a recent survey from Schroeder U.S. Retirement Survey says 22% of Americans nearing retirement believe they have saved enough for retirement. So 22% of Americans believe they've saved enough for retirement. What about the rest? That's what we're going to focus on today on the Your Financial EKG YouTube channel. First, we're going to go through some key findings on this recent retirement survey to help you better prepare for retirement. That's going to help you get to retirement, through retirement, and protect your ability to stay in retirement. And second, we're going to do an actual retirement scenario on the board so you can look at your own retirement savings and say, okay, this is how much I need to have saved based on these critical factors, and this is the optimal time for me to retire to make sure I don't run out of retirement savings. So hang on for that in the middle of the video. So let's go to this survey. Now this is the Schroeder Retirement Survey, and it says just 22% of Americans nearing retirement age believe they've saved enough for retirement. Well, what about the rest, that 80%? Where are they at? Well, Schroeder recently surveyed 1,000 U.S. investors nationwide. So they surveyed 1,000 U.S. investors. And out of those thousands, the working Americans ages 45 and older, okay, so if you're 45 and older, you're doing retirement planning at 45, they believe it will take $1.1 million in savings to retire comfortably. So out of the individuals that were surveyed, those that were 45 years and older, they believe they need $1.1 million in order to retire comfortably. Yet, the majority of those surveyed expect to have less than $500,000 saved for retirement. So get this, most Americans today believe they need $1.1 million in retirement savings to retire comfortably. Yet, 56% of Americans will actually retire with less than $500,000 saved for retirement. And 57% of retirees said they will actually have less than $250,000 saved for retirement. How are we going to retire if we're not saving enough? Again, we're going to go through that on the board. Now, another key finding, the percentage of working Americans nearing retirement age, so 60 to 67 years old, who said they have enough money saved was just 22%, down from 26% a year ago. So we're actually going in the wrong direction when it comes to saving for retirement. For many retirees, 44%, expenses in retirement are higher than they expected. So those who are already retired, 44% say that their expenses are actually higher than they expected, while just 8% say expenses are less. I want that to sink in. 44% of retired individuals say that their expenses are higher than they expected. Only 8% believe their expenses are less than they expected. So for all of you who are commenting and saying my expenses will be less in retirement, you might be wrong. So you need a plan for that. Now, the top 3 concerns Americans have about retirement include, and I quote, inflation, lessening the value of assets, so inflation bringing the value of our assets down, higher than expected healthcare costs, and a major market downturn significantly reducing assets. The 3 major factors affecting retirees today: inflation, a market downturn, and healthcare costs. And we need to have a plan for all 3. Are you ready? How much do you need to retire? Let's go to the board. How much money does it take to retire? That's what we're talking about. Now we've moved to the board, and I want to look at how you can calculate how much money you need to retire. We're going to look at one simple rule that'll help you calculate how much money you need to save for retirement. And then we're going to take that one simple rule and we're going to put it into a retirement income plan with Social Security, with inflation, with retirement assets, and see if it works. So, what is that one simple retirement savings rule that you need to know? It's the 25X rule. Now, the 25X rule is a great way for you to save for retirement. And essentially, what the 25X rule says is take your annual expenses, multiply that by 25, and that will give you how much money you need to have saved for retirement. So let's do an easy example. Let's say our expenses annually are $50,000. We multiply that by 25, and that equals $1,250,000 saved for retirement. Once we have that $1.25 million saved for retirement, we can start contemplating, yes, I can retire. The 25X rule gives us a good cornerstone and foundation to our retirement planning. Now, it doesn't encompass everything that's going to go on in your retirement plan, which is why you want a financial EKG, which helps you get to retirement, through retirement, and protects your ability to stay in retirement. A financial EKG is what we call a retirement income plan. And if you'd like one, go to the description below to contact me and we can talk about getting you a financial EKG. But what the 25X rule doesn't encompass is Social Security, taxes, any kind of market risk. So we need to be aware of that. But this is a great tool to help you understand how much you need saved for retirement. All right, so the question is, can I retire at 60 with blank saved for retirement? So we just looked at the 25X rule, and what the 25X rule says is take your annual expenses and multiply those by 25 to give you how much you need to have saved for retirement. So we have a 60-year-old individual. They've got Social Security at 67 of $2,800, and their annual expenses are $50,000. So they're doing retirement planning at 60. They've got $50,000 in annual expenses, and they're asking, can I retire with blank? Like, how much do I need to have saved for retirement? Well, if we do the 25X rule, we multiply the 50 by 25, that means they need $1,250,000 saved for retirement, okay? So now, let's put that to the test. Let's say we retire at 60, and we're going to go to 67 for Social Security, and so that means our annual expenses are $50,000 with inflation, so they start at $4,166. So that's our expenses when we step into retirement at 60. Now we're going to give our expenses a 3% inflation rate. So that means that every year our expenses are going to grow by 3%. That's the 108-year average for the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, which tracks inflation. So we're going to use 3%. Now, it could be higher in some years. It could be higher for decades. But if you look at a 30-year retirement, the average is 3%. We're also going to give the money that's invested in the market, our retirement savings, an average rate of return of 6%. So the reason we're going to use 6% as our average rate of return is I just feel like that's a very conservative number. The S&P 500 has averaged about 8% since 1950, so we're going to back off by about 2% to 60 to be a little bit more conservative because now we're in retirement. So we've got $1.25 million saved for retirement. We're 60 years old. We need $50,000 a year with inflation, and we're going to take Social Security at 67. So how much in assets do we have at 67? Well, based on this rate of return and a 3% inflation rate, we've got $1,413,319. So now at 67, we're going to start taking our Social Security, which means it's going to ease up the amount of retirement income that's coming out of our assets. We're able to let our retirement assets breathe a little bit because we've turned on our Social Security. Now, the reason I'm using 67 is because for most of you watching, if you were born after the year 1960, your full retirement age for Social Security is 67. So if we take Social Security at 67, you're going to get 100% of your full retirement benefit. If you take it at 70, you're actually going to get 124% of your full retirement benefit. So for this example, if $2,800 is their Social Security at 67, then at 62, if this person took Social Security, 70% of that would be $1,967, so $1,967. So it's a really big difference by waiting those 5 extra years. But with Social Security and any kind of retirement planning, you need to make sure you're taking Social Security at the optimal time for you. It might not be 67, it might be 62 or 64 or 68 or even 70. Make sure that you have a Social Security plan along with your retirement income plan. So we've got $1.4 million at 67. Now we're going to get Social Security. So our expenses have grown to $5,236 with inflation. So this is our expenses. Our Social Security is kicking on. That's $2,800. So that means we need to take out of our portfolio, I'm going to just change this line real quick, $2,436. We're still going to have a 3% inflation rate. That's inflation. And we're still going to have a 6% rate of return. Okay? Now, I hope it's okay. I'm doing more of a teaching right now. So I'm not trying to be fancy. I just want to teach you this. So we've got $1.4 million saved for retirement now at 67. $5,236 is our monthly expenses. Social Security is $2,800. So we need $2,436 coming out of this on a monthly basis with 3% inflation. So if we earn 6% from 67 to 77, we'll have, and actually let's go up to here because I'm running out of room, we'll have $1,949,000 saved for retirement or in retirement assets at that time. So we started with 1.25, and the reason we use the 1.25 number is because we're using the rule of 25. We're trying to say, does the 25X rule work for retirement planning? So at 77, we've got $1.9 million. We've grown our assets by about $700,000. Now keep in mind, this is a simple scenario on the board. In the catalog of my YouTube videos, check out some of the other retirement scenarios where we use the financial EKG software, because that's where we go into a deep dive. Like we're calculating in taxes, any kind of vacations, extra money, second homes, rental income, whatever you want. Sequence of return risk, which is the risk of market loss or market crashes within your retirement. We're able to calculate all that in. But we want to check it on the board first, because if it doesn't work on the board, it ain't going to work in the software. So at 77, we've got 1.949 in retirement assets. So now we go to 87. So let's go another decade. Again, we're going to earn 6%. That's our rate of return. 3% is our inflation rate. And our expenses have grown to $7,203, right? That's our expenses. They're getting a 3% rate. Now remember, we started at $4,166, and it's grown to $7,203. Remember, the majority of Americans surveyed in a recent survey of millionaires, they said that their expenses were higher than they expected in retirement. Only 8% had their expenses less than what they expected in retirement. So let's assume that our retirement expenses are going to be higher in retirement. So $7,203 is our expenses. Our Social Security, because of COLA, has gone up to $3,373. So Social Security has had an average COLA increase of 1.9% over since the 1970s when they started doing a COLA increase for Social Security. Now it's been a lot higher the last few years because of inflation, but let's just use that 40-year average because again, I can't see the future. I had a crystal ball, I dropped it coming up the stairs, so you know, what do you want me to do? 1.9% is the average COLA for Social Security. So now, what we need coming out of our retirement investments is $3,879. So at the end of this decade, earning 6% with 3% inflation, we've got $2,400,000 in retirement assets. So can I retire at 60 with 1.25 million? Yes, you can. So the 25X rule is a great way for you to really dig in to go, okay, do I have enough saved based on my current expenses? And you can do this at 45, you can do this at 50. So if you're doing retirement planning at 45 or retirement planning at 50, this is a great way to say, yes, I do have enough saved for retirement, or no, I do not, and what can I do to save more for retirement? Or what do I need to adjust to be able to retire when I want to? Okay, so I hope this entire video has helped. God bless. Bye-bye.